Hi, I'm Danielle Nunez. I am a Jesus-loving, husband-adoring, homeschooling mother of 5. And I would love to just share with you some of the things that we are doing in our home for our homeschool. I know that a lot of you see me with all my kids, and so I've been receiving a lot of emails and Facebook messages asking what curriculum I use. So instead of trying to send everyone a reply, I thought I would just make a really quick video and show you what I do. So the foundation of our homeschool is built on classical method, and we follow the classical conversations memory work. So what classical conversations did is they took all the information that they think a child should have as rote memory in junior high and high school, and they took that and they broke it into 3 years of memorization, 24 weeks for each year. So every week for 24 weeks for 3 years, 3-year cycles, you will have things that your child would memorize that specific week. And all this information just gets stored into their mind. And then when the kids get into the higher levels of junior high and high school, instead of going to look up certain countries on an atlas or not knowing the history of the country that they're studying, or what the basic formula is for math, all these things that they would normally go and look up, they already have as memory inside their mind so that they don't have to look it up. Just to give you an example, this year was cycle 3, so they have broken it again into 3 different years. So there's cycle 1, cycle 2, and cycle 3, and the whole country goes through the cycles at the same time, and you meet at a co-op probably once a week to go over it with other people, although you can do it on your own if you don't have one local in your area. And so everyone's memorizing the same thing. So this is from cycle 3, and for their history, I can tell my children, tell me about Columbus, and my children will respond word for word. In 1492, Columbus made the first of 4 trips to the Caribbean on 3 Spanish ships named the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And then I can ask them their states and capitals. This week they memorized Augusta, Maine, Concord, New Hampshire, Boston, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island, and Hartford, Connecticut. For their English, I can say, what is an infinitive? And they will say an infinitive is to plus a verb used as a noun, adjective, or adverb. And then in Latin, they were learning their prepositions. Apud means with, sine without. For math, they were doing their skip counting, just 1s and 2s, because this is the first week. I can ask them what are 4 types of tissue, and they will say connective, epithelial, muscle, and nerve. What I love about this program is I don't have to come up with what they're going to be studying. I already know this is the memory work that they're going to be memorizing, and I also love that it comes with songs. In 1492, Columbus made the first of 4 trips to the Caribbean on 3 Spanish ships named the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. And so it's easy for the kids to learn. They're just memorizing it by singing songs. And we play different games, hopscotch, and different things where we mix in that memory work, and that's how they're memorizing it. So it's still fun for them, but at the same time, they're not just making 3 ships and spending hours with you working on making 3 different ships so that they know this, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. They just know that by hearing it. And then you can add in extra things if you have extra time at home, or just for fun if you would like to. That's completely fine to do, but they just give you the basic skeleton of what it's going to be. So I use this as a foundation for my school time with my kids, meaning that whatever we're going to be studying in this, at their younger levels, even though they're only studying, Columbus for that week, I'm able to read a book with them or play an audio book for them. From YouTube, you can find a lot of free audiobooks, or they could watch a show on Netflix, or now my first grader is able to read some books on his own, so I can give him extra things to kind of tie into that. So I'm using this as my skeleton for my homeschooling. Same thing for science. They were learning about body science, anatomy, so we were studying anatomy in our own time. So I would get a piece of chicken and we would look at the different types of tissue in that piece of chicken, or same thing with fish. There's lots of different things that you can just get at the grocery store and actually do a hands-on science experiment with them and going through. So I followed that model with my science. With states and capitals and geography, there were lots of games that we would play for them to memorize those, and we would talk about the different states. There's a show on Netflix right now, and it talks about how the states got their shapes. And it's very interesting to, kind of see they don't always go by rivers, but there's a whole political past behind it. And my son, who's in first grade, he's 6, he absolutely loves watching that show. So he's watching when we memorizing the state and the capital, he could watch a show about that to kind of help just reinforce what he's learning in his CC time. The other big thing, that's the biggest thing, is just to decide what method and what material you want to cover with your children in a year. So that has been settled for me, and I love it. I love doing that Classical Conversations. You can go to classicalconversations.com to find out more information about Classical Conversations. The next thing that was really important, obviously, is reading. We chose to go with All About Reading. I absolutely love this program. You can either follow it to a T, it tells you exactly what to say to your children as you're teaching them to read, or you can modify it for yourself. My kindergartner is reading at a first grade level. My first grader is about to start a third grade book for his reading. They're just excelling on this program. It's phonics. It teaches the phonics rules, none of which I knew. So it just will tell you that the silent E makes the vowel that comes before it say its name. And then what I like to do is, after we go through it, I would look up a few things to sort of tie in, like you learn about the bossy R, and there's actually a video, like a 2-minute song from the electric company about the bossy R. And so I would play that song for my children, and we would sing that song together, and it would help my children to be able to apply that knowledge to their reading, and to help them just to keep it in their mind. So I love All About Reading. I'll probably do another video just kind of going into what this program is, but it comes with your teacher manual that tells you exactly what to say. It also has a booklet for your kids with activities in it related to each reading lesson. And then it comes with its own set of readers. This is probably the biggest problem that I've noticed, is children in public school are not learning traditional phonics for their reading. So if you just go to the store, you're going to pick up a book for kindergartners, and it's going to have random words in it that your child could never sound out because the kids are memorizing words. They're not actually learning how to sound words out. So sometimes the levels don't translate. Your child's in a first grade reading level, but the books at the store or the books at the library that you would get for a first grader, there's going to be some words that your child doesn't know. And at the same time, there's going to be words that are very easy to sound out phonetically that a public school first grader wouldn't be able to read. I have noticed that now that my son is almost done with the second grade reading level, he can pick up, he can read things out of the Bible, words, propitiation, words that all of a sudden it just clicks and they're able to go. And he can read anything at the second grade reading level, public school, or, the traditional phonics second grade reading level work. He's also reading the Pilgrim's Progress, the junior one, on his own right now. He just picks it up and reads it, and he loves to read. And that was a struggle for us at first. For him, learning to read was a huge struggle. So I'm sure I'll be doing a video on that, just because it's been so encouraging to see him. And there were so many things that we did to kind of help him get over the hump and pass that difficult point of reading. The last thing, of course, if you're homeschooling little ones, is your math curriculum. I love math, so it wasn't an issue for me. It's not something that made me afraid to do. This is Horizon Math, which we did for my son for kindergarten and first grade. Basically, all math programs are written in the style of a large classroom setting. So the idea is that there'll be some kids who pick it up in kindergarten, some kids who pick up this concept in first grade, some who pick up this concept in second grade. And so they're going to cycle through some of the material. They'll just barely touch it, and then they'll go to something else. So, the best example is learning to tell time. To be able to tell time accurately and quickly, you should already know how to count by fives, because the minute hand is going to go traditionally, by 5 minutes. So that's going to be the easiest way for your child to learn it. So what they'll do is they'll just teach children how to tell what time it is when it's pointing at the hour. So they know 3 o'clock, but they won't learn how to count by fives till much later. So then they'll talk about something else in the math, and then they'll come back to it and teach them fives, and then they'll talk about something else, and then they'll come back to it, and now they'll go back to how to tell time by the hour, and then they'll start to all of a sudden tell time with the 5 minutes. So they take a concept and they break it up and they kind of cycle through it several times, and then they do the same thing in kindergarten, and then they'll cycle through the same thing you taught in kindergarten in first grade and in second grade. For a parent who maybe feels nervous about teaching math, it might be a good way for you to do it. Personally, I decided that next year I'll just be building my own math curriculum. I prefer for my child to know how to count by fives before they're learning to tell time. That way it's just that one shot through of this is how you tell time. And my children were very frustrated that they weren't able to count by fives when we first introduced that idea. They want to know why they're learning this, how they can apply it. And that's the same way my mind works. So I'm just going to be doing my own math curriculum. So nothing against Horizons necessarily. I just don't prefer to use that style or that method of teaching math. So I hope that this was informative and kind of helped you to see some of the programs that I use. I will definitely be trying to make some more videos and go a little more into detail about the way that we use these programs in our home. I know a lot of people ask how I can homeschool when I have such little ones at home too, and so I'll talk about some of those methods also. If there's any other questions that come up from this, please let me know. Just send me a message, or you can post below, and I would love to address those issues. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.